And did you eventually stop making the videos?
Yes, that's correct. My attorney was a partner at the time, and I told him not to do that anymore.
You told Zach not to. How did you tell him over
I
Snap?
said, you need to stop sending stuff like this. I don't need you hinting at anything like this. If my partner sees any of these messages, you're going to ruin my day, like kind of thing. We can try and stop him from doing it anymore so my partner wouldn't accidentally see something of him that he would normally send.
Okay. And did you have a relationship, like a romantic relationship with Zach, or was it like he was like your brother mentor from the church?
He was like a mentor of them.
And when all of this came out, or did you ever tell anyone after that, like that you were making these videos and getting the discount on your music?
So I didn't tell him too much in depth. I did mention to one of his sisters privately one weekend at church between sets that he had been up to things that I knew about. And I told her about that, and we didn't have enough time to finish our conversation that day. She came back next week and she said she had mentioned it to her other sister and that we should have an intervention with their family to handle it in general.
And did that ever happen?
I denied her offer, and I just kind of stayed silent and moved on.
And were you living locally when this kind of this news sort of broke that this was happening with others last September, August, September, October 2024?
Yes, I was living in Belleville.
Okay. And did the defendant contact you?
He did. When he put his girlfriend at the time on break, one of our friends from high school who I'd mentioned things 2 years ago connected us, and she told me that I needed to tell her everything that he did to me so that she didn't get back with him.
And did you tell her what happened to
I
you?
told her everything. And then we were pretty good about not letting him know that we talked, and then he found out we did. And that day, he called me several times throughout the day to kind of question me and say stuff like that, and just tell me that I don't know anything, and that there's nothing I could possibly say, and that I'm basically crazy. And then he basically did told me to shut my effing mouth, and that, or to keep my effing mouth shut, and that I don't know anything, and what I was saying was not true.
Okay. So did he told you to keep your fucking mouth shut?
Yes.
And was that over the phone, in person, or something else? And did you talk to him after that? Block him?
I did not. He actually blocked me.
Okay. I don't have any other questions for you at this time. Ian, the defense attorney may. Thank you.
Cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Ian. My name is Ida, and I'm gonna ask you some questions, okay? First, I'm gonna start off with some names, all right? I'm just gonna give you some names. You let me know how you know them, okay? KJ? Okay, and how long have you known KJ?
Since I've gone to the church, I don't have a personal relationship.
Okay, and how long was that you've been at the church? Okay. What about Kurt and Melissa DeMars?
Kurt and Melissa DeMars, I have always had problems with Melissa over the years.
Okay, can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Me and Melissa always really just kind of butt heads and stuff like that. We've had arguments. So honestly, it was always 50-50. Sometimes we were chill, and sometimes we just had like arguments over stupid things.
Okay, and who was Melissa in association with you?
So at first, it was just someone I went to church with, and I went to school when I was younger with her daughter. So I knew them from, I knew her daughter from school, and then we realized we went to church together when I first started going to go.
Okay, and what's her daughter's name?
What the daughter I was friends with was Lily.
Lily, and how long had you known Lily?
I had known Lily probably at the time before I went to the church for about a year. At the church, obviously, I knew the entire time.
Okay. And what was Melissa's role at the church? Do you know?
At first, Melissa was just a family member and a parent. There was a time when Kirk did take over the youth as the youth pastor, and she was a youth leader for a period of time.
Okay, and Kurt is Melissa's husband? Okay, and how long have you known Kurt?
I have known him as long as I've gone to the church to know him.
Okay, and you said Melissa and Kurt were the youth pastors? I just want to make sure I heard you clearly.
Yeah, for a certain amount of time, not when I first attended the church.
Okay, and the time that you attended the church, who was your youth pastor?
My very first youth pastor was Aaron Ellis.
Okay, and then after Aaron?
Was Kurt Tobias.
Okay, and was Kurt your youth pastor for most of the time that you were in the youth group there?
I would say it's pretty evenly split.
Okay, and so with Melissa and Kurt, you know them. At what point did Kurt leave the position?
Probably about, I believe, 2 years ago. I haven't really been quite as involved.
Okay.
With
Do you know why Kurt left the position?
I'm not entirely sure. I've heard rumors, but nothing definitive from this mountain.
Okay, and what are the rumors that you heard?
I have heard that he-
Objection,
Just saying.
relative, hearsay.
As to all of those.
How did the rumors make you feel?
Honestly, they were confusing because what Zachary told me was very different than what I had heard.
Okay, and did you sense that other people knew the rumors?
No,
No?
I really didn't. Honestly, the couple of friends I did talk to about it were shocked as well.
Okay.
They heard the same thing. Exactly.
And who would you talk to?
I only talked to at the time about it, Brianna, towards when we first started bringing things together.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Brianna. So you know Brianna. Okay, and how long have you known Brianna?
I knew her my junior year, so probably I'd say 4, 5 years, maybe or so.
Okay, and what's Brianna's relationship with Zach?
They did date for a year.
Okay, and earlier the prosecutor had asked you a question. You said when they went on a break, is that Brianna that you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay, so you've known Brianna for a long period of time.
Yes.
Did Brianna go to the church with you?
So when we were in high school, I'm the one who invited her to youth group.
Okay, so that was youth group with Kurt, right?
Yes, that's
Okay, after Aaron, I just want to make sure.
it was like right when we took over.
Okay, and what about Isaiah? Do you know Isaiah?
I know him from church, but I don't have a personal relationship.
Okay, and how long have you known Isaiah for?
As long as they've attended the church.
Okay. When's the last time you spoke with Isaiah?
I mean, I said hello, but I didn't have any deep conversations.
And when was that?
Yesterday was the most I've seen when we were in our church room.
Okay. What about Noah? Do you know Noah?
I played on stage with Noah, but I didn't ever really have a deep conversation with him.
Okay, and how long have you known Noah?
I would say maybe, I don't know how many years he's been playing, maybe a year or two.
Okay, when you say playing, do you mean like in the
Not
band?
church, yes.
Okay, okay. Were you guys both in the band?
He played here and there, excuse me, youth group with Zach, but like both times.
Okay. What about Maxwell?
Maxwell, I know Maxwell. Again, these are people I don't have close relationships, but I have gone to church with them for as long as they've been at church.
Okay, with Noah and Maxwell, how did you know them at the church? You said Noah in the band. Maxwell, how did you know him in the church?
Maxwell, I knew them from being at the church. Their family was a pretty core family at the church at the time. So it was at events that we have and stuff like that.
Okay. And Christopher? Your Honor, may I give him a last name? I know we, okay. Use it. All right, so Christopher, you're not sure who I'm talking about. Okay. Yesterday when you came to the courthouse, did you hear a name like that? Okay. All right, what about Weston? Do you know Weston?
I do know Weston.
Okay, and how do you know Weston?
I know Weston because of the stuff that
Okay, so you didn't know Weston at all before?
before he spoke.
Okay, and had you seen Weston before then? No? Never had a
Well, I
conversation?
see him at church, sorry. So sorry. I did see him at church, but he didn't live up here, so he was only here.
Okay, and how often do you think you saw him at church?
I mean, I couldn't tell you a definitive number. I mean, over the years, his family's also was a core family at the church, so he would have been at the church here and there over the years, depending on age, as long as I've gone to the church.
Okay, do you remember seeing Weston at certain seasons or no?
I'm not entirely sure.
Okay. What about Jacob? Do you know Jacob? Okay, and how long have you known Jacob?
I've known Jacob as long as I've gone to the church.
Okay, and how long would you say that would be?
I would say probably about 10 years, because I wasn't in the youth group with him right away, but that's once I went to youth group, so we started being friends, he became a girl
Okay, so it's kind of like the trio, right? You, Jacob, and Lily
at that time, yes.
at that time? Okay, what would you call Jacob your best friend?
I wouldn't say best friend, I guess, but nowadays, yes, but at the time, we were just friends, pretty new friendship at the time.
Okay, so if out of all the names that I gave you, would Jacob be the person you spent most of your time with?
I mean, Jake has been less involved in the church in the last several years. So I've seen him here and there only when we do choose to talk. It doesn't happen as much because we're older. When we were in church and youth group, I did see Jacob pretty regularly, but there were years when he left because of his own stuff. So I didn't see him for a long period.
Did you and Jacob ever discuss having any kind of romantic relationship?
Objection.
Sustained.
So you attend the church. All of these people are part of the church, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you hang out with any of these people outside the church socially?
At church events, typically, there's not very many people. I wasn't really the kind of person who hung out with people when I was younger.
Okay. Do you know a place called the Diamondback Music Hall?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And where's that located?
It is on Service Drive in Belleville.
Okay. And do you remember when last time you were there?
A couple of weeks ago or so, maybe a month.
Okay. If I were to say sometime in December, does that, it's longer than what you said. I just want to know. Okay. And then who would you go there with?
Depends on the day. I mean, I've gone there with Brianna, Nikki, Michael, Weston, anyone, like people from the stuff, because we had already been hurt and stuff like that. So we hung out because we kind of we sought out support system in each other after having a experience.
Okay. Did you hang out with those people in that environment before you spoke to the detective?
No.
No, but you hung out with them recently there.
Yeah.
Classic courtroom moment right there. Defense tries to dig into what the witness and another victim said to each other. But boom, hearsay, objection sustained. Quick thought experiment. Do you think victims should be allowed to compare stories during trial, or does that muddy the evidence?
Okay.
Notice how the attorney hands over pen and paper for the witness to write down sensitive info instead of saying it out loud. Smart move, keeps private data off the public record. Do you think more trials should handle digital evidence this carefully?
And how did you first meet Zach? I know he was at the church and everyone was kind of, he was like the center in a way, right? How did you first engage with him? Did you go up to him and talk to him? Did he introduce himself to you?
He did introduce himself to me. It was probably a Saturday night service, and I was in a class because I was in fourth grade, so I was in one of the weekend classes. He had come home from college, and he had introduced himself to me.
And how did he introduce himself? What did he say? Who did he say he was?
At that time, there was no more depth. He was hi, I'm Zach, and I'm like, oh, I know who you are, I've seen you on stage and stuff like that. There was no real depth at that time.
Okay. And how did you feel when he came up to you and introduced himself to you?
I thought he was an interesting person.
So everything you had heard at that point was all good stuff? Okay. Now, at the time, you said that you had seen Zach on the stage, right? He was part of the band of the church, okay? And what was his role in the band?
When I first started at the church, he was not the actual official worship director. He was just, obviously, his mom and dad, and the pastor and pastor's wife. His mom was the music director, but he did primarily lead the songs that were sang in worship on stage, play guitar.
Okay, so at that time, he wasn't the music director, he wasn't the youth leader or a worship leader. Okay. And what you ended up being part of the band, right? The church band at some point. What was your role in the band again? Okay. And how long did you play in the church band?
Probably for the last 2 or 3 years since I graduated high school.
Okay. And during that time, Zach was also still in the band.
He was, and at that time he was the official worship director.
Okay. Did the band travel anywhere? No? Okay. Did the band have shows outside of the church?
I had maybe 1 or 2 times he needed help with something, and I played last minute in a concert for some type of worship event.
Okay. And where was that concert? Was it at the church or somewhere else?
There was one time it was in Oxford, Michigan.
Okay. And did you attend that concert yourself or did Zach go with you?
I attended that myself.
Okay. Now, you also write and perform your own music, right? And I'm going to go a little bit into the studio stuff, okay? So you write and perform your own music, and you had said originally when you were at Pearl, I think it's called, right? It was about $1,500 for some studio time. And Judge asked you some great questions of detail. How long has Pearl been open as a studio? Do you know? Okay. Does it seem like a pretty established place? Okay. Would I be safe saying it was up and running before the 80s?
I mean, that to my knowledge, yes.
Okay. And do a lot of people use that studio?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of well-known people?
Yeah.
Okay. Would it be fair to say that a studio that just opens up would be a lot less for time compared to Pearl?
That is correct.
Okay, so it'd be fair to say that if Pearl's charging $1,500 for a studio session, a studio that's just been opened by someone who's never really run a studio that way, $1,000 is possible that it would be less, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How many times did you record at Pearl?
At Pearl, I only recorded one song.
Okay.
A couple times to record vocals and write as well.
At Pearl?
Maybe 2 to 4 times on total that I was actually recording music
Okay.
for the song. I've been there here and there for things over the years just to stop by or say hello, and nothing substantial time besides my music.
Okay, and how many songs did you record at the studio that Zach was running?
It would have been 4 that I released and then 2 that were not finished.
Okay, the 4 songs that you released, do you remember how much you paid for that time?
Yes, I did. They were $1,000 a song.
So-
For the studio.
Okay, so each song was $1,000 for the studio fee.
Yeah, besides the first one, that's $1,500.
Okay, so, but I'm talking just about
Yes.
the songs that you put out of the studio that Zach was running. You said there were 4 songs there, right?
That are released.
Okay, so 4 released songs, each of them you paid $1,000 for the studio time, right? And then you had said there was, I think, 2 other songs that were,
That were unfinished.
okay, and did you pay for that time as well? Okay, and how much did you pay for those 2?
They were $1,000.
Did your music make any money for you in return?
Some money, but nothing substantial.
Okay. Do you feel like you got the same quality of work out of Zach's studio that you got out of Pearl?
I would say so, yes, because he's the one who did it at Pearl. So yes, it would be the same.
Okay. And during this time, you're communicating with Zach, right?
That is correct.
And how are you communicating? I know there was a phone call at some point, but are you communicating primarily via text message or Snapchat?
Snapchat is typically his preferred method of texting.
Okay. And when you started, and I know earlier you said you engaged in the Snapchat conversation, he came up to you and asked if you can add him. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. So what was the handle that he was using or the username that he was using at that time?
He changed it recently, I believe, but it was to bears something numbers at the end of the time.
Okay. And was there an image associated with that username?
Not that I remember.
Okay. Did you know for sure you were talking to him?
That is
And how did you know for sure you were talking to him?
sent it to shower or in a mirror naked.
Okay. How many of those videos do you think he sent you?
I mean, I could give you a definitive number. If I had to guess, probably somewhere in the 30 to 40. Maybe.
So he sent you 30 to 40 videos from his Snapchat to yours.
That is correct over the years and the time that we talked to us.
Okay. And do you remember, and you don't have to say it on the record, do you remember your Snapchat username at that time? Okay. I'm assuming Judge will give you a piece of paper at some point to write that down for us, if that's correct, Judge?
Yes.
Thank you. Do you remember what phone number you were using at that time? Same thing, I don't want you to put on the record.
I do say yes.
Okay. And do you remember? And do you remember your email address that's associated at that time? Okay. Will you be willing to provide those? Judge will give you a piece of paper. Okay. So the 30 to 40 videos that you say that Zach sends you of himself to your Snapchat account, did you ever save those in your Snapchat? Okay. Was he there when you received the videos? Okay. So you were alone when you got his videos and you couldn't just save him to your reel?
No, but it tells you on Snapchat if I say.
Okay. So those just stayed on your Snapchat, the 30 to 40.
They expire.
Okay. Did you respond to any of those videos?
On occasion, sometimes if he was more persistent, I would give in and send what he wanted.
Okay. And when you were creating the videos that you were sending, right, where were you?
I was in my bedroom at my home.
Okay. And that's your home in Belleville or
My home in Slater.
in Slater? My apologies. Okay. And in your bedroom, was it just you?
It was just me.
Okay. And what time of day was it usually?
Typically, it was at night.
At night? Did you do anything to prepare to take the videos?
Not really, I'd be in bed because I sleep in my underwear, so it would be something I would just do and he would bug me about.
Okay. But you didn't like watch anything or read anything? No? So you just take the videos from there?
Correct.
Okay. Was anyone home when you took the videos?
My parents would be home immediately.